Gentlemen, Admiral Boorda.
Thank you all for coming. I'm going to read a prepared statement that I just did about 2 minutes ago because I want to be precise in what I tell you, and then I'd be happy to take some questions. I talked with General Cott Sunday night at 2200 hours local, Naples and Zagreb time. That was just 3 hours before the deadline. That was a prearranged call, and it was a time for us to review the situation together and decide what our individual recommendations would be. Now, it was clear to me at that time that the warring factions were attempting to comply and that they were cooperating with UNPROFOR in every way they could. Large numbers of weapons had been turned in. Large numbers of weapons had been withdrawn, and many of the known sites that we had been surveilling for months had been vacated. UNPROFOR had complete freedom of movement within the exclusion zone, something they had not had before. It was also clear to me that the remaining few sites, 6 at the time that General Cott and I talked, could not be verified before the deadline. That was not because the warring factions were not cooperating. It was the physics of the situation. Weather, time, and the hectic pace that UNPROFOR had been maintaining all of that day were the factors of importance that I considered. It seemed to us, both General Cott and myself, that we could expect to find some of those sites vacant when we could finally get to them. And that turned out to be the case. Of those 6, 4 turned out to be vacant. We still have more information coming in this morning, and we're working hard together, both in the air and on the ground, to scour the area and make sure we know exactly where we stand. Bosnian Serbs are providing liaison to UNPROFOR, to Lieutenant General Rose, to assist in being sure that all the sites are in fact covered and that we can verify that everything is either vacant, withdrawn, or under control. With this information available to me at 2200 on Sunday, it appeared to me that we probably had compliance, but that we, UNPROFOR in this case, simply couldn't verify it by the deadline. The deadline did not change. I will tell you that we never discussed or thought about changing the deadline. UNPROFOR simply needed to verify compliance. Based on that, and pending the verification today, it didn't seem logical to me to recommend airstrikes at that time, and General Cott and I agreed completely on that point. I then called Mr. Akashi and told him that I did not believe that airstrikes were warranted pending verification. Verification continues today. I have talked to General Cott and General Rose this morning. We will continue to monitor the situation on the ground. We will fly a heavy recon schedule, the same schedule I had planned if we had run strikes, and we will provide close air support aircraft, and we will be prepared to strike if the situation changes. Any weapons that are found that are not put under control immediately are subject to airstrike. Any shelling of Sarajevo from either within or without the exclusion zone makes that party subject to airstrikes. And our mission is not over. It is a continuing mission, and we hope it will be just the beginning of a more peaceful situation for the people of Sarajevo. Let me close by saying great work by the UNPROFOR men and women on the ground, and great work by the NATO people, both in liaison, in the air, and in support. It's been a good operation. It isn't over, and the warring factions need to know we are still serious. And I'll be happy to take a question or two.